the Pope in America, Governor Walker, Ted Cruz, Ben Carson, and whether or not there should be a Muslim president, Donald Trump's numbers. We have so much to talk about, and I've got a secret for you. I do this without a teleprompter. Don't tell anyone. I'm Randall Terry. This is Voice of Resistance.
Those who forsake the law praise the wicked. Those who uphold the law resist them. Welcome to the Voice of Resistance. Here's your host, Randall Terry.
The Pope is here in America. What is papal infallibility? Now, 25% of the American people are Roman Catholic, okay? So it's a big deal. Then some people are devout Roman Catholics, some are charismatic, evangelical Roman Catholics, some are Christmas and Easter Roman Catholics, some of them completely ignore the teachings of the church. So it's all over the place. I get that, all right? What about you, Randall? Oh, don't ask and don't tell. Was it Disraeli who said that? Disraeli said? Or Churchill? Anyway, a lot of people don't understand the doctrine of papal infallibility. Now, here's a case in point. The Pope, in his opening remarks with President Obama, talked about climate change, okay? And talked about the millions of people around the world who have not been lifted up to the next level of economic success. Climate change, that's a big question mark. There are a lot of scientists who say it's a complete scam. But let's just go one little bit further. America has some of the cleanest air and the cleanest water in the world, okay? We only have a little over 300 million people in this country, right? But our water is clean and our air is clean because we have been fighting pollution for decades and doing a really good job. If you want to see who's polluting the earth, go to China and go to India for starters. Then you could go to the Latin American countries and go to some of the places that the Pope is talking about the poor people and look at the pollution that they're doing. So it was kind of weird because he talked about climate change on one hand and that we need to bring all these poor people in the world up to the next level of economic success so that they can live the life that God wanted them to live with some decency and prosperity. And I'm all for decency and prosperity and having a man have a decent wage for a hard day's work. Not what we have right now. But there are people, all right, Catholics and non-Catholics. You should hear Sean Hannity he's coming unhinged. Sean is coming unhinged at the Pope. There are people who are Protestant primarily, who do not understand the doctrine of papal infallibility. And I thought that it would be of interest to you in this segment, just to give you the what it is, okay? The concept of papal infallibility is very simple, and it is this, that the successor of St. Peter, successor means the guy who got the chair next. See, when Judas committed suicide, the apostles got together and they said, let another take his office. And they replaced him, okay? So the office continues. That's the principle there in the book of Acts. The office of Peter continues, and the successor of St. Peter is the Pope, all right? In Roman Catholic theology, and for hundreds of years, for the whole church, he was the leader of the church. He was the visible head pastor, okay? The concept of papal infallibility is this, is that when he is in the chair of St. Peter, and he speaks ex cathedra, from the chair, all right, about matters of faith and morals, the dogmas of the church, the dual nature of Christ, the blessed Trinity, one God, three persons, eternally coexistent, all right? When he speaks ex cathedra, from the chair, he cannot err. He cannot err. That's the teaching of the Roman Catholic Church. It's not the teaching of the church that when he talks about climate change, that he's right. It's not the teaching of the Roman Catholic Church that when he sides with this nation or that nation in a war that he's right. It's just not the teaching. The teaching of the church, believe it or not, is that people who are popes can go to hell. And I've spoken to a lot of Roman Catholics that are without question convinced that there are popes in hell. The issue of papal infallibility has to do with upholding the teachings of the church, and the church's teaching about its teachings is that it teaches nothing new. Everything that the church teaches was there explicitly or in seed form with the first 12 apostles. There'll never be a woman priest. And when Pope Francis discussed that, maybe 6 or 8 months ago, he said to the reporters, he said, John Paul II used the formula, okay, in saying that I, as the heir of St. Peter, whatever the formula was, John Paul II said there never has been, there never will be a female priest. The end. So Pope Francis does not have the authority to change that. He can't change that. Did you know that? That a pope cannot change the teachings of the Roman Catholic Church when it comes to faith and morals. The end. That is why when I was leading Operation Rescue and I looked at the Catholic Church and I thought, these are the only people who haven't wavered, theologically, haven't wavered on child killing or on birth control, that children are a blessing. And it confused me. I didn't understand papal infallibility, and I didn't understand the continuity of the teachings of the Roman Catholic Church, that you literally can't change them. You can change practice, you can change behavior, like in other words, how the Mass is said can be changed a little bit. There can be different customs that are changed, but the core teachings of the deity of Christ, the Trinity, the sacraments, they can't be changed. So the Pope can come over here, all that to say this, the Pope can come over here and he can talk about climate change and he can talk about anything he wants, but if it's not about faith and morals, his claim and the claim of the Roman Catholic Church to papal infallibility does not apply, okay? So he can be dead wrong, people. Don't be surprised if and when he is dead wrong, because there's a lot, and now I speak freely, there's a lot of people who are really nervous about this Pope, really nervous about him, and both Catholic and Protestant. I'm among them. I'm among them. People ask me all the time, what do you think of this guy? I say, he makes me nervous. So we'll see what happens over the next few days. Tragically, he mentioned global warming and poverty, and he did not mention the babies who are being butchered. He did not mention the assault of this country on marriage. So we'll see over the next few days if he drops the hammer in a prophetic way, the way John Paul II did, or the way Mother Teresa did. Please, God, make it so. We'll keep following it. I'll be right back. We've got a lot to talk about. Trump, Ben Carson, a Muslim president, Walker's gone. How come Walker left? Thanks to friends like you, we have state-of-the-art cameras and state-of-the-art teleprompters and state-of-the-art gear here in the studio. We have one big need, however. We have not yet been able to upgrade our computers. The computers that we use for a television broadcast or to create a documentary are not like the kind that you can just go buy at Best Buy. They are expensive because it takes so much horsepower to create TV series and or documentaries. So I'm asking you, if you want to see this show grow and you want to see us finish the What Would Muhammad Do series, help us get these computers. 3 computers that we need right now are going to be just shy of $20,000. That's the kind of horsepower that we need. Go to the GoFundMe page you see right there. Watch the pilot for What Would Muhammad Do? And if you like the show, give us a gift. Ted Cruz really messed up the other night on Stephen Colbert in a Christian way. And by the way, I'm gonna play a clip of it, but look behind me. Would you look at this? Look at this. What do you see here? What do you see besides my back? What do you see? You see, here, should I get up? I can get up from the chair right here. I'll get off this for a minute. You'll see all these books and all these pieces of art, statuary, icons, all kinds of stuff. I actually take this stuff seriously. I am a student of the scriptures. I graduated from a Bible college, 4th in my class, academic honors, majoring in the Bible. I love the scriptures. I love church history. I'm a student of church history, a student of history, a student of theology. I eat this stuff up, okay? And it's reflected behind me. Off the air, Billy Bob said, well, if you look at that, you'll go, the man's either a Christian or he's a Muslim, because he's got a lot of Muslim books up there. I do. I am a Christian, by the way. And this show is not about that primarily. This show is about what's going on in our country, in our world today that is a threat to righteousness and justice as given to us and defined by God Almighty himself, okay, the Ten Commandments. So again, quoting Billy Bob, he said, well, what you do is you focus on the things that unite us, which is partly true. In other words, I don't care what type of a Christian you are, babies are being butchered. And if my child was drowning, and it took me and one other person to save my child, I would not stop and say, hold on. Are you Baptist? Do you baptize your babies or not? Do you baptize adults? Do you believe in speaking in tongues or not? Do you pray the rosary? I mean, I'm not going to do that because my life, the life of my child matters at that point, okay? And this is what makes me so upset and really disgusts me about so much of the interdenominational bickering that's going on. Corrie ten Boom talked about it when she was in the Nazi concentration camp. And she said, look, we're all behind bars. The Nazis have us in prison. And suddenly all of our denominational differences didn't matter much. We prayed together, we helped each other, and we were just hoping, please God, let us get out of here. All right, let's go to Ted Cruz. I hope that meant something for you, because there are things that matter more than other things, okay? Christians being butchered right now in the Middle East by Muslims, that matters. The threat of Islam matters, and we're going to talk about that. In fact, let's go to that first. Well, then we'll go to Ted Cruz. All right, let's talk about poor Ben Carson. Actually, I shouldn't say poor Ben Carson. He's got the money coming in, baby. Did you see that? Did you notice? Yes, the money is flowing in like crazy. In fact, put his website up there. Let's just give him a free plug. And the reason is because he held his ground on Islam. He said, no, I wouldn't have a Muslim president. Because Islam, the school of thought, the religious, political, socio-political blueprint for the domination of the world, Islam is a threat to our constitutional form of government. The end. And he's right. And this is, again, when you watch, Rush Limbaugh calls him Chuck Todd, Chuck Todd, I think he's on NBC. This is not an intelligent man. He can read a teleprompter, okay? He can read a teleprompter. He's got somebody who does his makeup, and he sounds like he knows what he's talking about. But guess what he's doing? He's reading, like Obama reads a teleprompter. If they didn't have a teleprompter, they'd probably do like that Saturday Night Live skit where they started killing each other. I'm going to go over just a minute on this. Listen, Ben Carson shows what is happening with the American public, and the media hasn't figured this one out yet, all right? The reason that Carson is doing great, and the reason that Trump is doing even better, and Fiorina is doing better, is, number one, anger at the Republican establishment, right? We know this. They're all outsiders, and everyone's flipping out because they're rewriting the rules. But there's one thing that they don't want to talk about yet, but I'll tell you right now. It's the disgust that people have for the secular, liberal, left-leaning, God-hating, neo-pagan media. It's the NBC people. It's Chuck Todd, to steal Rush's line. It's George Stephanopoulos. These are people that are unrighteous. These are enemies of truth. They are deceivers. They're trying to stir people up. And poor people like Megyn Kelly, she's losing her way, folks. She's probably already lost her way. I watched her last night and I thought, this woman she's lost it. She's gotten the poison. And the poison is that there's no truth. And when we come to the next section, I'm going to show you how Ted Cruz really blew it. But all of that to say, it's not just that we're angry with the Republican establishment. We despise the secular media. And when the secular media tries to browbeat Ben Carson into saying that Muslims are okay and everyone's just the same, worship the same God, no, I'm not going to do that. Then our hatred for the media, we're like cheering on Ben Carson, yay, Ben! And we're throwing money at him. Go, Ben. Run, Ben. How you been? Take me out of this segment. Christians must be involved in government, period. If Christians weren't involved in government, we would not have a United States of America. And there have been brilliant Christian minds over the centuries, such as John Locke, who is called the philosopher of American liberty. He was quoted by Clarence Thomas in his recent dissent on the homosexual marriage decision. If we don't understand John Locke, we don't understand the founding of America. I want to send you this book and my book, The Sword, subtitled The Blessing of Righteous Government and The Overthrow of Tyrants. I want to send you these two books for a gift of whatever you can afford. Pay the $8 shipping and handling, which does not cover our costs, and then give a gift of whatever size you want, and we'll send you these books. If you cannot afford anything but the $8, can't even afford that, write us a note, and we'll send them to you for free. I want you to have these books so that you can be better equipped to fight in the political arena. Come on, order them today. Okay, Ted Cruz was on Stephen Colbert the other night. Donald Trump was on last night. Trump and Colbert, that was a great interview, by the way. Trump did a great job. Colbert did a great job. He is doing a fine job, Stephen Colbert is. So I'm going to play the Ted Cruz, Stephen Colbert clip that I want to focus on about homosexual marriage. Now you watch it, and I'm telling you right now, I'm telling you ahead of time, there's something glaringly wrong here. Glaringly wrong. And I want to see if you get it. I'll tell you where he messed up, but see if you get it. Ready? Play the clip.
Stop bankrupting our kids and grandkids. Follow the Constitution.
And no gay marriage. And no gay marriage.
Well, no, actually, let's be precise. Under the Constitution,
yes,
marriage is a question for the states. If you want to change the marriage laws...
It doesn't mention marriage in the Constitution.
We have had a country for over 200 years.
Yeah. So you may be right, but it doesn't mention marriage in the Constitution. You believe that marriage...
And that's exactly why it's a question for the states, because the 10th Amendment says if it doesn't mention it, it's a question for the states. That's in the Bill of Rights. Everything that is not mentioned is left to the states. So if you want to change the marriage laws...
I'm asking what you want.
I believe in democracy. I believe in democracy, and I don't think we should trust...
Guys, however you feel, he's my guest, so please don't boo him.
I don't think we should entrust governing our society to 5 unelected lawyers in Washington. Why would you possibly hand over the rights of 320 million Americans to 5 lawyers in Washington to say, we're going to decide the rules that govern you? If you want to win an issue, go to the ballot box and win at the ballot box. That's the way the Constitution was designed.
All right. Did you get it? Did you see it? Did you hear it? All right, I won't keep you in suspense. Yes, obviously the 10th Amendment, that's a great argument, okay? But where he blew it, and he really did mess up, is he abandoned moral absolutes. If you want to have homosexual marriage, just fight for it at the state level. That's what a democracy is all about. No. There's some things that are fundamentally evil, and you can't have them. Well, it's a states' rights issue. All right, I'm going to show you how. People, you ready? What if a state wanted to have the right for white people to own slaves? Chattel property. Oh yeah, we already did that once. Because people in the Deep South will say, well, it's the war between the states and it was a states' rights issue. Okay, what was the states' right that was in question? Owning another human being as a slave. Guess what? You don't have a right to do that. You can't have a states' right that isn't a right. Read the Declaration of Independence. At least they got it right there. They understood that our rights come from God. All men are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. God is who gives us our rights. And if He doesn't give us the right, we don't have the right. We might have the ability. You have the ability to kill your baby, okay? You don't have the right to do it. There is no right to homosexual marriage. And so if you take homosexual marriage out of the discussion, and put in any other abominable crime, killing Jews. Look, killing Jews is not in the Constitution. Oh, I know, it's horrible. All right, let's just stick with slavery. Owning a slave is not in the Constitution. The Supreme Court shouldn't be able to rule on it. Why would you have 5 people choose how they're going to live? Why would we give away our rights? Why did you keep God out of the equation? If a majority of the people in Alabama want to bring back slavery, what are you going to say then, Mr. Cruz? What are you going to say? You have to say it's a fundamental evil. It's a betrayal of human rights that are given to us by God. And so he tried to be cute. He tried to be politically correct about something like homosexuality, where he's trying to balance on this tightrope. You can't do it. You have to say it's a fundamental immoral idea, principle, whatever, that you could have two people of the same gender in a marriage. It's evil. It's wrong. It's sinful. It can never be a right because it's always going to be wrong. Friend, this TV show represents a mission. It's to be a voice of resistance to the evil in the land, but also to inspire people like you to take a stand at any level that you might be able to equip you, to inspire you, to challenge you, to give you the rhetorical ammunition that you need. But we still have to pay bills. This program, as you know if you're a regular viewer, we don't spend a lot of time raising money. We don't spend a lot of time saying, oh, you need to buy this and we're gonna run it. No, we're bringing you a message, but we still have bills that we need to pay. I'm asking you, if you have been blessed by this show, to please go to our website or send a check to the address you see on the screen or call the phone number that you see on the screen and use your credit card, and to give $50 or $100 or $500 just to help us meet our normal expenses. And we'll keep bringing you this hard-hitting show. I'm actually dealing with, because Billy Bob off the air had a great, we're gonna make millions. We're gonna make millions. We're gonna have a reality show where you just stick all of the Republicans, presidential candidates in a house. With a really big kitchen. Do they have to bunk together? How does that work? So, man, oh man, can you imagine if we just followed around with cameras and then we saw them get into debates, and then maybe after a while Jeb and Donald get along? You know what I mean? Like they form a little alliance. All right. Anyway, Donald Trump and Scott Walker, Governor Walker, those are our last two things to talk about. Let's talk about them together. Trump has gone through the roof, and Walker fell through the floor. He cratered in Iowa. And his path to the White House was based upon him doing well in Iowa. Let me tell you something about Scott Walker. Ready? I think he'll be president someday. I could be wrong, but I think he could be president. You have to remember that Richard Nixon ran twice. Did you remember that? That Nixon actually lost to JFK in 60, then became president in 68 when he ran again. Reagan lost in the primary in 76 to Gerald Ford, then the sitting president. Reagan ran again, became president in 80. There are people who have run and lost and then run again and won. I think that Walker is a good man. I think that he's an intelligent man. He's shown a lot of courage. His campaign did not take him where it needed to go, and he wisely pulled out. He didn't want to go into heavy debt. Okay, I guarantee that that's part of the reason. That he just realized, not only are the numbers not there for me to do well in Iowa, my finances are drying up. And you can go into serious debt really fast, really fast. So finally, back to Trump. I want you to mark this, okay, in case you haven't already. The next time you hear any secular media person, Stephanopoulos, Chuck Todd, any of these foolish people say, Trump is done, laugh at them, say anything you want under your breath, and then just watch for his numbers to go up. Did you see that? After the thing where he didn't rebuke that guy about Obama, whether or not he was a Muslim or, you know, all that nonsense, Trump's numbers have gone up again. So I watch these media people, they're going, Trump is done, that's over. Yeah, he was done with the wall. He was done with John McCain. He was done with the fight with Megyn Kelly. He was done with the flap over whether or not he had a moral obligation to defend the president. He was done because he doesn't like Oreo cookies. He was done because he's got that weird hair. He was done because people don't like how brash he is.